So first of all, you need a piece of wire that's 300mm in length. The first thing you need to do is chop it in half. So fold it, then use your wire cutters to cut it in half. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to join this to that and that to that. Now first of all we need to strip the wires. So you get your wire strippers. Now when you close your wire strippers you should see like a little hole about here, just through there. And what you need to do is put your wire through that. So you're leaving about that amount out the end. Wrap it around your fingers and then you just pull it towards you, or rather away from you. So I'll show you that again. So put it in the little gap, wrap it around your fingers and then pull, and then you should see lots of little pieces of wire like that. Now if you don't see that, or you just see one or two, it means that you've accidentally cut it. You need to repeat the process on your other piece of wire. There we go, and wrap it around your fingers and pull. So you should have now two pieces of wire with the wire showing. Now what you need to do now is twist so it looks like it's just one piece of wire, and do the same for the other side. Now you need to join these together, so what you need to do is cross them over so they're kind of facing each other, and then very carefully twist the metal around each other until it kind of holds together. Place it on your mat. Well, now what you could do is use the clip just to keep it steady. Now your soldering iron should have a nice clean tip. Just make sure that when you're using the iron, just be aware of the stand that gets very hot, so this part of the stand gets hot. Obviously this part of the iron is very, very hot indeed, so it's hotter than an oven. I can actually feel the heat just from my hand from this position. Make sure the tip's nice and clean, so you've got a wet sponge, you can rub it with your wet sponge, and you grab your solder. Okay, so make sure it's a nice long line, hold it at the end. Now what you need to do is place the soldering iron where you've twisted the wire just for a few seconds, and then you need to solder. And I can see now the solder is starting to melt along that wire. So obviously when you press the soldering iron on there, it heats up the wire. And I'm not even touching the soldering iron, the solder onto the iron. It's just heating up because of the wire being so hot. Okay, so when you finish with your iron, put it back in the stand. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just attach these two, but this time we're going to do something different. So I'm going to twist the wire like I did before. So the thing that I'm going to do differently is put a shrink wrap on. So thread it on first, and then I'm going to do exactly as I did before, attach these two together by twisting them together. Okay, I'm going to do the same process, so get my solder, get my iron, place. Now what I am going to do is turn the wire over that way, okay, so I don't accidentally heat up a part that I don't need. Okay, so I'm placing the iron on my wire, using the solder, and I can see the solder melting along that wire. There we go. And then with the shrink wrap, you're going to put it over one of your wires. It could be the first one you did, that's absolutely fine, so I'm going to do it on that one. Now what the shrink wrap does, it just protects the wire. So you need to place it in position. There's two methods of doing this. Now the first one, so basically when you heat it up, it shrinks and it attaches to it. So the first method is just dabbing it on, and when I'm heating it up, it's starting to shrink because of the heat. Now if I were to keep the iron on, it would just melt. Okay, so we don't want that. Another method is actually using the thicker part of the iron here and just rolling it on. But again, make sure that you don't leave it on there for longer than a second, because it will just burn a hole straight through it. There we go, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so put the iron back when you're done, and you should have something that looks a bit like this, which you're going to stick on your worksheet.